Hey guys, just wanted to put together a quick video demonstration on how I do my Mara carries. Now this is for making gold or helping your mates level. The first thing you probably want to look into is grabbing yourself some nature protection gear, and that's just making it easy towards the end. You want your barriers to stay up for as long as they can to avoid interruption. It also helps you refund your mana that you lose during the pull. With that said, we'll go through some of the gear that I'm using. So Heart of Noxian, also Noxious Shooter, and there's also the Chloromesh Girdle, which are all from Mara Orange side. The bosses are soloable, but they aren't that easy. Probably take some major health potions if you can, just to make it a little bit more straightforward. I also have 2 nature resistance rings equipped as well, and obviously mage armor. Make sure you switch over to that once you've done your pull and you're starting to blizzard, just for that extra resistance. Now if you do want to make this pull a little bit easier, you can grab yourself some nature protection potions off the auction house. Not very expensive, I think 60 to 70 silver generally, and they'll guarantee that you don't get interrupted during your blizzards. Now some people have these pulls down to an exact science in terms of the rotations they use for aggroing the mobs between Fire Blast, Cone of Cold, counter spells. This isn't really to go too in depth on that side of things. It's just to demonstrate how I get the pulls down to essentially 6-minute runs. Now you are likely to hit your instance cap lockouts unless you don't succeed in a few of the runs. You're probably not going to run into the same issue if you're just doing the portal runs. They'll obviously take a little bit longer, but I don't mind hitting the instance cap as it gives you time to take a quick break and go vendor items. Now most people are happy to pay 8 gold for the portal runs, whereas these purple runs are generally 6 gold. The difference between the pulls mostly is you get a lot less opportunity to group the mobs with Blizzard. You kind of have to use pathing a little bit more to your advantage. You'll see a few examples of that in this video. You'll see me stand in sort of a certain area, potentially pausing for a couple of seconds and then using a blink, creating a bit more of an angle for the mobs at the back to cut and catch up with. In this area here, I like to try and save blink and counterspell just to pull these furthest mobs ahead. Without having to stand still for too long, as if you haven't created the right amount of distance, they'll catch you and pretty much one-shot you. And as we get to the top of this ramp, I'll do a blizzard. Now this position's a little bit modified from the bottom of the ramp, which allows me to duck into the side room and grab the last remaining mobs. It's important that you use your blink there as well, just timing purposes. When you come out of the room, you don't want them to be too close and have caught you, otherwise it's obviously game over. So we want to get into this room and pull the mobs as quickly as we can. Then after that you'll see an example of using the pathing just to create that little bit more of a grouping. So as I run to the corner here, I stick to the right hand side of the room, put on mage armor and then hit blink. Now also you'll see me double back just here, so I kind of go left and then back down to the right, and that's obviously just for that same thing. It helps group up the mobs a little bit more. There probably is also time to blizzard just there on the tree route. If you're already familiar with the runs, you'll know about that, but they're already kind of grouped enough as it is, so there was no need. Once again, another important timing for blink there. You want to try and create as much space as you can as you're coming up to the bridge area, just not to get hit from underneath with leeway, and also giving yourself enough time to prepare your positioning for your blizzard. Now positioning here, once again, is very important. Certain positions won't actually either allow you to blizzard where you want to, or the mobs will hit you from underneath, or certain mobs will run through your blizzard, like that one at the front there, nearly sort of escaped without getting slowed, in which case that makes the pull very difficult. As we get a little bit closer towards the top with the mobs, just prepare yourself to run onto the top of the post, just to the side here, and then try and get that cast in the middle again straight away before the slow wears off. And if the mobs start to get too close towards the bottom of the hill, just jump back up to where you originally were. Generally, you really want to try and keep the mobs towards the middle as it kind of groups them more. They kind of have a bit in the center there where they sort of double back a few times, which will reduce the chances of them escaping your blizzard and making the fight longer or more difficult. So that's pretty much the entire run finished. Now I'll link some videos in the description of the original portal run that I learnt from before modifying it to this shorter run, just so you can see something that's a little bit more in depth. So happy farming and happy carrying. Good luck.